What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, but not as you know it. Ben and Simeon are unavailable today, so for the bits of content you've got are coming directly from the boys at Tottenham on Tour. And today is the Tottenham Hotspur update, and I'm joined by my partner in crime, Mr. Brian Ireland. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, sir. I am. I'm excited to chat. This is an honor again to be on this channel, and yeah, hope the lads are doing okay, and looking forward to chatting with you, man.
So there we go. Let's get into this. Now, the first piece of news is obviously about Will Lankshear. And The Athletic has said that Will Lankshear is set to stay with Tottenham first team this season, despite loan interest from multiple clubs in the Championship and abroad. The 19-year-old striker has impressed Ange Postecoglou and his coaching staff during pre-season. So, Ireland, what are you making of that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great. I think I've said on our channel, but I've said before that seeing him in preseason, just sort of the way he plays, he looks a lot like a young Harry Kane. I think he's got the skills. He scored 32 plus goals, I think, for the under-21s last season. Great to have him around. And if we do run into any issues where we need some depth in that position, I think he can fill in maybe cup games or the Europa League. So I'm happy about it. I think it's the right thing to do.
I'm happy. Out of all the other strikers we had, Valise, Scarlett
stands out.
He stands out as the one that has got the future at Spurs. Obviously, let Troy Parrott go as well. So, and also obviously since Bell has recently left as well. So I thought he would be the one. I think that clearly showed in pre-season, didn't it? That he favoured him as the first sub that came on. We're going to get onto injuries later on, but obviously he's there mainly going to be cover for Solanke, Richarlison, then him. We're going to come on to that a little bit later. But yeah, do you think just on this, do you think a loan move may have been beneficial for him, or he's going to gain more from being around the first team?
I think the under-23s and how good he was there, that the loan move isn't necessary. And I think a lot of players who struggle to get goals, the loan move is really good for them to get their feet a little bit and to play with a bit more men. But I feel like he just stood out. He stood out in preseason. He stood out in the under-21s last year, and I think he's ready. And he's physically, like, you know, if you look at him, the size of him and his mobility in the box, I feel like he's there. I would have been happy if the club said let's like have him in the first team this season, and that looks like he'll probably be in and out of it, as we've seen he's been playing with the under-21. So I'm happy with it. I think it suits us.
There we go. So that's the news on Will Lankshear. People in the comments, feel free to leave your opinions on that. Next bit of news, a bit of double delight for our Swedish players, because it has been officially announced by Sweden that our midfielder, Dejan Kulusevski, will be the new senior men's national team captain during the upcoming international break. And also, our new Swede, Lucas Bergvall, has been included in that squad, Ireland.
Yeah, the Swedes are doing some great work. I think from a Deki perspective, this is wonderful for him. He has shown leadership just on the pitch, like leading by example with effort and power and pace and all the things he does physically on the field, but also just when it comes to leadership in the dressing room. I think he offers a lot. He's arguably, as young as he is, he feels like a senior player because he's been with us for long enough and he knows the club and he knows what we're doing. And I think it suits him to be pushed up into that position for the Swedish team. And Bergvall, to add to that as well, is what we saw in preseason, what we've seen so far. He's ready. He's playing at a men's level and he looks really comfortable. And I think he deserves to be in that squad as well.
Yeah, I mean, people will know on this channel very well that I've been heavily critical of Kulusevski when he's out wide. When he's out wide,
yeah, through the middle is the key for sure.
There's no difference. There's night and day when he's in the centre, or playing more central, should I say? Started the preseason, best player of the preseason, without a shadow of a doubt. No. Looked very good against a very poor Everton team, but really did look good. More to the point, before we talk about Bergvall, what kind of captain do you? Because obviously he's a wonderful one to be national team, but do we see him as a Hugo Lloris type captain? Is he a Roy Keane kind of? What kind of captain would you reckon he'd be?
It's a good show. It's a good question. I think it's somewhere in between, because I do think communicatively, obviously he's going to do really well speaking his own language, but he also speaks multiple languages. I think he's got a good handle on what it is the expectations for the team that he's in. And I think it suits him. So I think he'll be vocal, but he'll also lead by example. I don't think the vocal will be, tearing everybody a new one when they're, like a Roy Keane might do when somebody has fallen off or it isn't living up to the standards of the team. But I do think he will push them and make sure that they are understanding what it is that's expected of them, and he'll communicate that really well. So I think he's a solid choice for a captain, and I think arguably there's potential for him to become that for us, especially in a midfield position, because I do think captains in the midfield, that because they're both sides of the ball and both sides of the pitch quite a bit, they can really like understand from one touchline to the other, like what needs to happen. And I think he's a great player for that, because he's a big fella, so he can play good defensively in the box and then move the ball up the pitch in the midfield. And then obviously he's great in the opposition box as well.
I mean, from my point, before we go on to Bergvall, for a player that must be thriving on confidence after pre-season, being named your national captain has got to be another boost to the system. And hopefully we see the Dejan Kulusevski all season that we saw in pre-season, because when he's playing like this, he's a different animal as opposed to our White. But Bergvall, obviously, people were saying he hasn't made it into the national team. Obviously, he's moved to a much bigger club, a much bigger league, and straight away got the recognition for early promise of the Spurs.
Yeah, I think obviously visibility does matter, and I think that's a part of this. The reason why he's been given the nod is that he is in the bigger club. He has shown that within that bigger club, he stands up to it. Like, again, the sort of adult mentality. He's young, he's 18, but he looks and feels like he knows what he's doing. We'll see how many minutes he gets. I feel like similar to what we're doing at Spurs with him is he'll get eased into the national team. He might not necessarily start. Again, depending on who they play, obviously that matters quite a bit. But if they're playing, like a stronger team, then maybe they ease him in. They bring him on in the last 20 minutes and give him some time. But if they're playing a team that they'll have a bit more of the ball, then he'll get a chance to start. So, yeah, suits him. And again, like you said, I think the elevated club status helps him a lot. And obviously another boost of confidence for a player that's going to thrive on it. Yeah,
well, you look at it as well. It's always good to be associated with the national team and be around them. We've seen it with England with many a time when they bring the youngsters in to be around the first teamers. And obviously having your new national captain as a club teammate is going to be great for him. So that's Sweden covered. The next story. So I don't know if this has changed at time of recording, but at one point the Spurs Express tweeted the no sign of Dominic Solanke in the latest round of training footage, which they then followed with also did not see Van der Ven or Richarlison in this video as well. Now, obviously, this could be for a host of reasons. Different types of training, could be in the gym at time, could be a host of things. But we're talking about Lankshear a minute ago and being cover for Richarlison and Solanke. That could be an issue. But then the one for me is obviously Mickey Van der Ven with the style we play. Let's just hope that they had commitments for other parts during the training session. I mean, that's not the news you want to see right now, is it?
No, it's not. And to be fair, I watched and I don't know if this is from the Spurs Express, if this is what they watched, but what the club released from the training was a 3.5 minute clip. So there wasn't a lot there. There's other players you could probably say you didn't see either, and they're probably playing. So I'm not sure that this is necessarily the best place to determine whether or not those players are fit. And like you said, there's other reasons why they might not be there. They also might say, hey, let's give them an extra day. It's Wednesday. That was filmed yesterday on a Tuesday. Maybe they're in training today. Maybe they'll be in training Thursday, Friday. We've got 3-4 more days before. If they're not in training by Friday, and there's no announcement when he goes to do the press conference, I think then I'm worried about it. But right now I'm not too worried about it. And I do think like this is going to happen, right? We have to get used to it. Players are going to get injured. Dragusin is a great player. We saw what he did at the Euros. He comes in. It's not Mickey. We know we're not going to have the same pace, but we can adjust. And he's a wonderful defender. And I'm not too concerned there. I do think that position, we can talk about that in another stream, but I do think that position needs a bit of depth, and I think the club are aware of it and are trying to address it. It's just a matter of finding the right player. But I don't think we'd be in a big problem there. I do think that I think we'd miss Solanke again if that happened, because we do want to see some build up there of his fitness, but also him starting to get his feet into the team and start scoring some goals. So yeah, I'm not gonna worry about this yet, it being Wednesday. If this is still the case on Friday and we get the presser out and we got injuries, then we'll start to worry a touch. But I'm still arguably not that worried.
I'm going to give you a little bit of pushback on that one, but only because I think a lot of this will also fuel the flames and petrol on the fire of we have 2 days or 2 and a bit days left of the transfer window. Yeah. And if these are the cases, not with Van der Ven, left centre-back, left-back being the huge gaping hole that I think we need filled, and I think a lot of people agree with. If this is the case, we saw yesterday, as Postecoglou said, he wants another left-sided player in because he cannot afford another Van der Ven injury. Now, obviously, this again could be, like we said, could be they were doing media stuff. It could be it was a different part of training. They were in the gym or doing whatever it was. But this is not the kind of news you want to be hearing with 2.5 days left in the window, is it?
No, I mean, it never is. You don't want to hear see your best players get injured. But again, I think we have to. It is what it is. Like, try to get a player in. If you can get the right player in, you get the player. I forget who it was that I saw them looking for, but it looked like he was a good player, but didn't pass the medical, which is sort of unfortunate because
the Borussia Dortmund player.
Yeah, I forget his name, but starts with an S. Can't think of it off top of my head. But that's the right type of player and would have suited the system. So arguably, they're working to try to do it. This isn't a scenario where they've left. I mean, they're leaving it late, obviously. I think a lot of teams are, but it doesn't look like they're completely unaware of it, which would be problematic. If they weren't doing anything, I'd be getting pretty annoyed. But it sounds like they're all aware of it. Coach is aware of it. The transfer team are aware of what needs to happen, and hopefully we'll address it before Friday. But even still, I'm going to be the positive guy that I am, and suggest that the one game against Newcastle where Dragishin plays, and of course, yes, we need to address it. Isn't a huge deal, but we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, again, you say one game against Newcastle. It could be more. It could be less.
We don't know yet.
It could be there on the team news, but you gave me the wonderful segue here because you said I'm going to be positive. Now, if you say the word Spurs and positive or positivity, there's only one man with the smile that's known around the world. That is the captain of our team, is celebrating 9 years to this day. He joined Tottenham Hotspur. So he signed in 2015. Current club captain was signed from Bayer Leverkusen. Since then, 410 appearances for the club, 164 goals, 84 assists. Not bad for £30 million, was it?
Yeah, I mean, what a player. I mean, Heung-min's son, Sung Heung-min, whatever the right way is to say it, I apologize to those watching. But Sonny is a blessing to this club. He's been absolutely brilliant. He's come in. There's been many times where we've written him off, and he just goes out and proves us wrong, like he just did last weekend. So he again, you talked about his smile. You talked about what he brings to the dressing room, what he brings to the rest of the players and their joy in playing football and playing with him as their captain and playing for this club. Absolutely love him to death. I think he's probably, I mean, you saw him run to chase down the ball and score his first goal against Everton, and to suggest that he doesn't have the pace or the energy is a bit absurd. To see him do that and the way he did it, and not a lot of players can do that at 31 especially. So I think he's got a couple more seasons in him at this level, and I think the dressing room and what he does for the club outside of it, it's invaluable. He's an incredible ambassador and player and human.
So let's just have a couple of questions here together. And everyone that's watching this, put your thoughts in the comments. For me, he is the best player we've bought during the Premier League era. Bought,
yeah, I would agree with that.
People may say Bow. Oh, actually, you could put Klinsmann up there, but Klinsmann was 1 year. But I mean, for longevity, let's say, and for what he's given to this club, I would probably say Klinsmann completely overall is like the jaw-dropping moment. But I think for what he's done for Spurs, I would have to say Heung-min Son is probably the best player we've signed in the Premier League era. Wouldn't you think?
Yeah, I mean, I can't argue with that. I feel like he's even bigger than Klinsmann. I think Klinsmann, because of the timing of it and where we were as a club, it stood out as like, where's this guy come from? Why is he coming to us? Whereas Sonny has just built up this incredible, what he's been able to do at this club for the amount of time he's been here. He's on 9 years, going on 10. Incredible stuff. So for me, I think Sonny is the best. And that might be controversial to some people, but I don't think it's controversial to say.
Oh, I'm sure. Look at it. Some people say Bale. Some people might say Ginola. Some might say Van der Vaart. Some could say Modric, which is a huge shout.
Sure. But I would, but all of those players you could say, but they've all gone elsewhere to do it elsewhere. He stayed at the club. It's 9 years in. Had Bale stayed and he won us some trophies, or or you know what I mean? Like, then you think of it that way. But Sonny, nine years in doing it at the top level, not only just doing it at the top level, but improving. Getting better and better all the time, and then also becoming the club captain, like all of those things, the escalation. And when Harry Kane said he'd had enough and moved on and went to Bayern, Sonny was the one who signed a new contract and became club captain. That says to me, character-wise, everything you need to know about who he is.
Okay, and then finally, before we move on to the final subject, your favourite Sonny goal. Now, I'm sure loads of people in the comments will have different ones. I know mine, so I'll let you.
For me, it's the Burnley goal. The Burnley goal from one end of the pitch to the other. I watched it over and over again. The Puskas goal. It deserved absolutely my favorite goal to watch because it's Sonny to a T. Now, I know he does a lot of other great things. Like, he's really good with both feet outside of the box. There's a lot of them. I couldn't pick one of the ones that come from outside of the box on either side because there's so many that he does. But that one stands out for me, and it just stands out as one of the best goals in the Premier League has ever seen. So because of that, it's my favorite. But also, just I love watching it. Like watching Mickey do the same run we saw last weekend. Sonny doing it and finishing it on his own, and arguably Sonny, getting past 5 or 6 guys, not necessarily running with them, was so impressive. So that's my favorite goal. Yeah, I'm sure. Is yours the same, or you got?
No, it's actually not. And when I think about it, that Burnley goal doesn't even register, even though that goal is
really
incredible. Wow. It's the West Ham equaliser at Wembley, the 30 in the 1-1. The 30-yard, or maybe even a little bit more, screamer in the top corner.
Yeah, that was a smash. You like those ones from far out too. So.
I love that one. You can even say the Chelsea goal where he ran half the pitch at Wembley. Down the right hand side as well. And he cut inside. Yeah, I mean, again, if you could put a list of them in front of me, and I'm like, it's hard to pick a favorite. I think the reason there's the Arsenal goal. The Arsenal goal during COVID. Yeah, there is so many, but the first one that stands out for me is the West Ham goal. I think that was just an absolute
smashed
banger.
It from miles away.
West Ham scored a banger that game as well, but for me, it's that one. Guys, in the comments, let us know your favourite Sonny goal. And the final bit of news in this update is the Carabao Cup is being drawn today, and as the boys are away, Tottenham on Tour will be going live on We Are Tottenham TV to give you the draw live and get instant reaction, and hopefully you guys can join us in that. But the final thing about this Carabao Cup is it's interesting, actually. All European teams cannot be drawn against each other. So, for instance, tonight, Tottenham cannot be drawn against the Filth, Liverpool, Manchester United, Manchester City, or Aston Villa in the third round of the Carabao Cup.
Oh, so we got it easy.
You got to remember, you say got it easy. Chelsea's there.
I'm joking, mate. There's no easy anyways, but it, of course anything can happen. The teams slip up, but I mean, avoiding arguably the top 8 of the Premier League is a pretty big avoidance, despite maybe Chelsea being in that conversation. Of course, we'll probably get Chelsea away just because that's how it goes for Spurs.
I mean, the cups we've got to take seriously. Let's just hope
we do. Yep.
We get people. Let us know. Who do you think we're going to get? Do you reckon we'll get a Premier League team or we'll get a lower league?
I think we're going to go. I think we'll get a championship team. And I think we'll be okay there, and I think we'll see the squad rotated appropriately to make sure that we get the win that we need to get onto the next round. It's hard. There's not a lot of Premier League teams left in the conversation that I'd be worried about anyway. But I'm hoping for just a little bit of an ease into the cups rather than something really hard right off the top. Even if that is maybe positive for some people, I feel like easing into a cup competition is a nicer thing to do, especially at the beginning of a season.
Exactly. So there you go. We will be back with the live Carabao Cup draw at 9:35. We'll be going live on this very channel. So I hope to see you there. Thank you for being with us. You can catch more of us on Tottenham on Tour if you don't already know. It's been a pleasure doing this for Ben and Simeon. But Ireland, it's always a pleasure spending time with you on the stream.
Absolutely, brother.
And I will say to everyone, thanks for watching. Have a great day. Like, comment, share, subscribe. And as always, come on, you Spurs.